It's that time of year for the lion's mane and the shrimp of the woods to pop up. We, my wife and I, pay our old spot a visit, where we found both mushrooms last year. But you know, there's no guarantee that you're going to find what you set out for. Plus, in most cases, you don't find the lion's mane, but it finds you. Today, we see no trace of the lion's mane, but the shrimp of the woods show up on time. And this white cotton wad-like fungus is the shrimp of the woods. The smell of the shrimp of the woods is indistinctive. The mushroom is named so because it tastes like shrimps when cooked up. They are a quite decent mushroom for pot, especially if you take some time to caramelize them. The shrimp of the woods is also known as the aborted Entoloma.
What? I don't know.
And this is a young Entoloma mushroom, just like any other gilt mushroom. So, the unaborted Entoloma versus the aborted Entoloma. Starkly different, right? Because the aborted one, well, aborted. It quitted developing into its regular mature form. Long story short, mycologists used to believe the Entoloma can be parasitized by the mycelium of the honey mushroom.
Oh, mycelium.
Resulting in the deformed fruit body, hence the name aborted Entoloma. But recent studies show it is the other way around, that the Entoloma parasitizes a type of the honey mushroom, which is then deformed into the cotton wad. So the shrimp of the woods might be more reasonably called the aborted honey instead of the aborted Entoloma. Given the close and complicated relation between the Entoloma and the honey, it is hardly surprising that a few feet away we spot a cluster of mature honey mushrooms. And some hen of the woods or maitake mushrooms in its close vicinity, under the same dead wood.
Oh, they're lovely.
Too small.
Very moist, very fresh.
The maitake, the beloved choice polypore mushroom, does have two lookalikes, which I'll cover in my next video. But for now, just see a close-up of a maitake. Then we encounter this little guy, a tooth fungi. This is the sweet tooth, a type of hedgehog mushroom. See how the undersurface of the cap is covered by teeth or spines. It would be a perfect day if we did find some lion's mane, but with all the gills, the polypores, and the teeth we have seen within the 2 hours of walk, we can't complain. Yet the traffic is unreasonably heavy for a weekend. Instead of getting stuck in traffic, we veer into another park, where we see loads and loads of ringless honey mushrooms. If you haven't seen my other videos on the key identifying features of honeys and ringless honeys, just so you know, both can, but not always, take on a yellow, honey-like color. Both are covered by fine hairs on their caps and stems.
不是很明显。
Both have whitish flesh. Both grow in big clusters on wood.
很难想象它会有白色的孢子印。
And both drops white spore prints. It's getting dark and the traffic should be lighter by now, so we decide not to finish the loop, but to double back. On our way back to the parking lot, we got to see the other side of the trees. Look at that, a large lion's mane, just like a white monkey sticking his head out of a tree. This lion's mane has found us. My phone just jammed and then died, and my wife's was dead half an hour ago. But this is life. Now here we go. Beautiful lion's mane to appreciate, and then of course to cook. And just appreciate this beautiful fungi. Because this specimen is super clean, my wife is just wiping it with damp paper towel twice. The intersect reminds me of that of a cauliflower. We use 1/3 of the lion's mane to do a butter sherry dish, as we did last year. Lion's mane is tarred, so you have to cover that with some sweetness or alcohol. But for this guy, even with all the sherry wine, I can still taste its tartness. So we decide to further neutralize the tartness with cheese and eggs. First, make scrambled or fried egg with 2 eggs. Set aside and saute lion's mane with olive oil and sherry wine. Then heat the bread in a dry pan without butter. When the top side is warm, place a small block of butter on each bread and flip. By this, you can get a perfectly browned bread without burning the butter. Then build your sandwich. Avocado and sliced green onions are optional, but I really like having them there, adding some extra layers of flavor and texture to this dish. Honestly, I cannot think of a better mushroom for the sandwiching purpose, because the lion's mane can be perfectly flat. A mushroom steak it is. Also, I can't think of a better way of consuming lion's mane. Wine-salted lion's mane, sandwiched between 2 slices of whole grain bread together with eggs, avocado, sliced green onion, and melted cheese. Heavenly is all I got to say.